and introduce our Deputy National Executive Director, Scott Gimbel.
So what I want to do this morning is, typically what we've done historically is we all break out after breakfast on Saturday morning, and we go, and referees go off into their little group, and coaches go off into their little group, and management goes off to their own little group, and they all need to hear what's going on in AYSO and what's new. And what we found is those little groups never get back together and exchange information. So something that we did over 2 years ago, no, almost 3 years, is we rolled out a new coaching program for U6 through U12. Has everyone seen it? There's a lot of people that haven't. And what we found is a lot of coach administrators would go get that information and they'd forget to tell their RCs that there's a whole new coaching program out there. So as we travel around the country, there's actually places today that don't know that we actually, somewhere don't go anywhere, that don't know that we have a new coaching program. So what we did is we combined, it's going to be not as detailed as what you've seen before, but it's going to really be highlights of what's new with AYSO, what we're doing at the national office, programs that we're going to be rolling out to you, as well as kind of a summary of what's been happening this last year. But before we get there, this is Summer. Summer's out of the National Marketing Department, and what she's going to do is take a picture of everyone. And she's going to post it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then hashtag AYSO Expo. Well, we ask that all of you, who uses social media? Everyone? Okay. So when you take pictures today, let me turn down this mic real quick. When you take pictures today, what we ask is that you use the hashtag AYSO Expo. What we want to do is we want to show everyone that's associated with your social media accounts how exciting one of these expos is. And we only have 50 members at the staff. We have 4 or 5 people in the marketing and production department. Actually, we only have 2 communication people. But we need your help to get the message out. So we've asked that any pictures, any posts that you do that are positive and G-rated, you have hashtag AYSO Expo. Can everyone do that? So let's see those pictures throughout the day and then kind of share your experience. Thank you, Summer.
Alright, everyone get really excited, super quickly.
Everybody get really excited. Doing a video, keep it up, keep it up. Awesome.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, so now back to business. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through some of the things that we've done this last year and the things you're going to be seeing rolled out in the next year or so. The first thing we want to talk about is e-signature. Is there any region or regions in here that only use paper forms and don't use e-signature, online e-signature for players and volunteers? Anyone? Great. We actually have regions around the country that refuse to use e-signature because they just don't understand it. There's a reason why we're pushing e-signature and we're asking all regions to go to e-signature. And most of you can't read this little cartoon that I have, but it's 2 sheep and then it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. And the comment is, who did the background check on him? And we feel it's important, then why I put that up there is, before e-signature, it would take over 4 weeks to get a background check on a volunteer. That's 4 weeks after the national office actually received the paper form. Some regions wouldn't send paper forms in for 2 to 3 weeks after they receive it. Some would send them in midway through the season. So we would do background checks, and God bless Karen, where is she, if she's here? She would be doing background checks and have somebody that gets a negative hit halfway through a season. And she would have to call that person and say, I'm sorry, you can't be a coach anymore. More importantly, that person was working with our kids, and they had previous convictions. We as an organization can't stand for that. We can't accept that. What e-signature's done is we get the background check 1 week after the person submits their registration. Not from the time we get the paper forms, from the time they push send and submit. The background check goes out, and we get it within a week. Before we did e-signature, we would do 5,000 background checks between the months of July and August. With e-signature, we now do 30,000 background checks a month. Nobody else can do that. And that's because the volunteers and the Safe Haven group that put this together, that's the importance of e-signature. How many long-time RCs do we have here? Right, 5 years or more. Wow, that's it. Okay? For those that have been here for a while, and you can't see in the back because this was really designed for a smaller group, but this is stacks and stacks of paper. What you used to have to do as an RC is you have to hold on to that paper forever. As an RC using e-signature for the volunteer forms and player forms, you don't have to store the paper. Once that season's over, all those paper player forms go away because all of that information is stored electronically. So you don't have to have a garage full of AYSO paperwork from 10 years ago. So that's the advantage of e-signature. If you're not using it, please talk to, we have a booth in the expo. We have several people from staff that'll be there. Ask them about e-signature. We'll get your region up online. Here's one that I know everyone had a pleasant experience the last year, access rights. Did everyone love that access rights change? Who had problems with it? Okay, it's a work in progress, but here's the reason why we needed to do that, and why the commission and the board of directors needed to do that, is we actually had a process in place, and that process relied on our hierarchical structure of people to take people's access rights away from them. So when somebody was no longer an RC, the AD or somebody would go in and take those access rights away. We relied on a process of people to do it. What we found is we weren't doing a very good job. And we have a duty to our families and our children to protect their data. We actually had people that had left AYSO years ago that still had access rights to information about our players and our families, email addresses, that type of information. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to protect that information. So unless you're a currently registered volunteer, you don't have access, even if you were an RC, to all the information about the families. Because believe it or not, we've actually had people leave this organization and take email addresses with them to go start their own club. I know that sounds bizarre, but it happens. And it's our job to protect those families. The other thing that we found, which is interesting, is because we require all of you to be currently registered volunteers to have access, we had a lot of regions out there that didn't have RCs. We have roughly about 775 regions out there. Over 100 of them had not had RCs for over a year, registered in the AYSO. So what we were learning is there's a lot out there that we don't know about our regions. So even though it was painful, we're getting through it. There was a purpose for access rights, and it wasn't just because the board wanted to make your lives so much easier as volunteers by making sure everyone was registered. It really was to protect your volunteers, your families, and your children from having their data and information taken from them. Does that make it feel a little bit better doing access rights? A little bit, okay. It was worth the pain, it was. The next thing I want to talk about is a program we put out there a couple of years ago. And what we found is nobody's using it. A lot of people don't even know about it. It's a program called NAP Online, the National Accounting Program, and it's an online program tool that allows you, instead of using QuickBooks or anything like that, to enter your, basically do all your bookkeeping, but it sends the data directly to the national office and our accounting program. There's a picture up here, and it's several hundred letters. These letters are 1 day's worth of mail we receive from banks. And one of my jobs coming in as the Deputy Executive Director was to look at the business operations and how do we become more efficient. We have a person that sits at a desk and opens up all those envelopes, unfolds the bank statements, categorizes them, stacks them, sends them to a group of people that sit behind a computer and read key and enter all the data from bank statements. Because we're a 501c3 and we have to file taxes as an entire company, we need all of this information. At the national office, we spend $300,000 for people to sit behind a computer and enter data. That's crazy. We have a program in place that we can, if we use it at the region level, area level, and section level, we don't have to spend $300,000 to do data entry. We can use that money to actually reinvest in the program, get people out in the fields, and start growing AYSO. So of our regions, we have 15% of our regions using NAP Online. How many of you out there use QuickBooks? Does your treasurer use QuickBooks? Or any sort of bookkeeping system? How many of you don't use the bookkeeping system in your region at all? Okay. What we're hoping to create a tool where it'll make it easier for you to track your data and also get reports real time. Right now, when you get financial reports from the national office, it's anywhere from 60 to 90 days late because it takes that much time to get the data in, generate the report, and send it to you. Currently, we have 45% of regions that of those 15% that are NAP Online, 45% don't even use it, even though they've signed up for it. So my pitch here to you today is take a look, go to the booth for NAP. I think we have a NAP Online booth, Steve. Go there and find out about NAP Online, because this is the first step where we need to streamline the processes of this organization so we become much more efficient. You can get reports in a more timely fashion. You can do NAP Online on your phone, your tablet, or your computer. This is just a screenshot of what it looks like. It's very similar to Quicken or QuickBooks or Peachtree. So one of the big projects we've been working on this year is a new registration system. Back originally, AYSO started with paper. Some people still use paper, believe it or not. In 1990, we had a thing called AYSO, which was a standalone computer program for registrations. In 2003, we rolled out AYSO. AYSO has not changed dramatically since 2003, and we recognize that. It's an amazing, if you actually look at what AYSO does, it's more than a registration system. It really is a management system on the back end that there is no system out there like it. But what we've done is we've spent this last year with the commissions, with the IT group, and we've gone out, and in 2016 we're going to roll out a new registration system. We're pretty close right now. We're down to the final 2 people that we're looking at. But it's going to be focused on the user's interface. The moms and dads that have to register their children, that's the primary focus. We know what AYSO is, and we know how difficult it is for families to get past those screens just to get their kids registered to play soccer. So when we went out and we put out the RFP, our primary focus was to create a much better experience for our moms and dads when they register their kids. So probably in the next few months, you'll hear some information about some exciting news that we're going to roll out. The new program that we're going to roll out, the new registration system. I think you'll be really excited when you hear what we've done and who we're partnering up with when we roll out the new, what we call E3. But you'll see something in probably November, some sort of announcement on that for the fall registration. This is a gem that nobody knows about. It's called AYSOFamilies.org Safe Haven. So if you have a pen and piece of paper, write this down. AYSOFamilies.org Safe Haven. This is an online safe haven course for your parents. It's not a certificate course, but what it is a course to educate the parents on what it is AYSO is trying to do. We do a great job educating our volunteers, but most of our problems come from the sidelines. Most of our problems come from parents that are screaming and yelling because they've never taken the Safe Haven course. They don't know what Safe Haven is. All of your coaches do, your referees do, your volunteers do, but the vast majority of our consumers don't know we have a Safe Haven program. What this does is it educates the parents on what our expectations as an organization are of them and their behavior. It's one of those tools that Karen Mahar created so that it could help you create a better experience for your families. And one of the last pages is the parent pledge. So you can print the parent pledge, or the parents can print the parent pledge and bring it to their coaches so that they've bought into what AYSO's vision is. So let me get into some of the programs. The referee program. I've heard a lot of rumors out there. We actually heard them yesterday that we're going to 2 badges. We're not. What we've been focusing on right now is we're looking at the entry-level regional referee course and rewriting it and putting it in a package that's much more like the coaching program. What we realized, most of your parents that volunteer as referees, many of them don't want to be referees, but their team has to supply a referee. Most of them are intimidated to actually be a referee. So what we wanted to do is rethink how we teach our referees. The course that we're working on will be rolled out in 2016. It's focusing on U12 and below, because that's about 85% of our referees are all regional referees. How many of you actually require intermediate referees to do your U12 games? Okay, see, here's the problem, is our basic referee course right now only teaches you from U10 and below. But most of our basic referees or regional referees are doing U12 games. How many of you have regional referees doing U12 games? Okay. And that's what we're seeing across the country. We need to make sure that those people that are doing your U12 games have enough education so it's a good experience for them doing U12 and below. So what we're basically using, we're going to create a manual. It's going to be a regional referee manual, no different than the coaching manual. It's something that the referees get to take with them. And it's a reference tool that they can take with them before a game. I remember when I did my first U10, I played soccer my whole life. Since I was 4, up through college, I coached, and then I was asked to go through the regional referee course, or the basic referee, and then referee my first U10 game. I was petrified. And the biggest thing that scared me was the coin flip. Because I had 2 older referees that had been doing it forever, and I was the CR, and I didn't remember who was supposed to call the coin. And if they got it right, I wasn't sure what they were supposed to. And it sounds silly. Anyone, who out here is a referee? Did any of you have that experience where you didn't know what you were supposed to be doing? Yeah, we all did it. I hear the coaches going, every game. So what we want to do is we really want to make it a pleasurable experience for our moms and dads to be referees. Because I truly think it's not the parents that chase our referees out of the game. I really think we haven't done a very good job of making it a pleasurable experience for the vast majority of our moms and dads to be referees. We've added QR codes in the manuals. So hopefully this will play. Down in the lower corner is just an example of one of the QR codes. In the coaching manuals, what you do is you use your phone or your tablet, you scan the QR code, and it takes you to online content, either animation or video, to demonstrate what you've just read or what you've looked at. So this video, you'd scan your QR code, it would be talking about boxing play on a corner kick. And this is the type of video it would take you to. What we've done is we basically have a referee, we have the assistant referee by the corner flag, we have a positioning where the center referee is, but the idea is most of our parents can't understand the concept by just looking at a book. But it'll take them to video to show them what boxing and play means for a corner kick, or how to position themselves in a penalty kick, or how to run the field and box play throughout the game. But they're going to be tools that make it easier for them. And then the last thing that we're introducing with the new referee program is a program that's called Stewards of the Game. And what's a steward? Anyone? What's the job of a steward? Take care of. Take care of. Take care of. Protect. Who are the stewards of the soccer game when our kids play? We all are. All of us should be the stewards of the game, protecting our children so they have a positive experience. Does that happen in most games? Yes? No?
Yes.
I'd say no, from what I've seen.
Don't argue with them.
But what we want to do is we actually want to formalize the role of stewards of the game. So the program that we're rolling out in both the coaching program and the referee program is there's going to be 5 formalized stewards of every game. It's going to be the 3 referees and the 2 coaches. The primary role of coaches during a soccer game isn't to win a soccer game in AYSO. The primary role of the referees isn't to referee and call fouls of a soccer game in AYSO. The primary responsibility of those 5 people are to make sure that the environment that our kids participate in is a safe and secure environment, both physically and emotionally. It's our job to make sure that those kids, when they step on an AYSO field, don't get verbal abuse from parents. Because that happens. And well, too often what happens is the referee gets pitted against the coach gets pitted against the other coach, and you've got 5 adults that their job is to protect the children, but they're too much focused on winning or losing a game, or calling a foul or not calling a foul. So within all the coaching manuals, within all the referee manuals, the steward of the game is going to formalize the relationship of those 5 people to first focus on protecting the children, and then their job as their coach or a referee. So you'll see that as we roll out the next coaching program as well as the referee program. So going to coaching, 3 years ago we came up with a new concept of the coaching program where it's all theme-based. Starting from 3 to 5, it's the age of imagination. For U6, it's the world of exploration. We're not coaching the kids, we're letting them explore the world of soccer. At age 8, it's guided discovery. We're still not coaching them yet, but we're giving a little bit guided discovery so they start understanding what this game is. By U10, we introduce offside, and we introduce goalkeeper. It's really starting to become a soccer game. And then at U12, it's the age of inspiration. That's where we want to keep the kids in. So these are just some of the manuals that we put out. For last year, we rolled out the programs for 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. And if you didn't hear that, we have a program for 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. The program for 3 and 4-year-olds are not soccer programs. They're fundamental motor skills, focusing on developing the kids' fundamental skills in physical literacy, so when they get to 5 years old, they can actually play the game. If you haven't seen the presentation on this, it'll be presented later today. It's in your agenda. But the program, we're testing the programs for 3-year-olds. And then we went into U6, and then our regular programs from U6 to U12. This year we're rolling out a brand new intermediate manual. We're using the same format that we did for U6 through U12. It's a big book. It's 150 pages. It is a bear to try to get through in a one-day course. But it also includes about 15 or 16 complete training sessions. So our expectation is with the intermediate coaches, they don't need to write their training sessions. It's all fundamental, functional training, but it's really designed for that intermediate coach. It's using QR codes. The other thing that we're working on now is also how do we make this course more palatable. Currently it's a day and a half. You come in on Friday and it's all day Saturday. We are investing in a learning management system, and our goal is to have about 4 hours of online content as prerequisite. So our intermediate coaches are coming in for 1 day. 4 hours classroom, 4 hours field. They're getting probably more information that they can retain using online courses, but those are prerequisites before they ever show up for intermediate. Here's just an example of an animation of how the QR codes work. None of you can see it, so we'll just get past it. So online training, that brings us to online training. Currently we have AYSOtraining.org. We've spent the last 6 months researching and finding tools to basically create a whole new learning management system. It's not just going to be coaching and refereeing. All of the courses that we can, certificate courses as well as online or continuing education, will be in this learning management system. I actually got to see the U6 course yesterday. It's about halfway done. It's amazing. It's night and day to what we have now online. But it's a formalized program. All disciplines will be creating content for it. There are courses that are perfect for online training that we haven't done. Treasurer course. Laws of the game. There's many things that we haven't been putting online. We've done webinars. But what we want to do is we want to put these courses online so volunteers can access it any time of day. It's really at their convenience. We also will be using the LMS system for prerequisites because we're rolling out much more sophisticated programming. The intermediate is a perfect example. We can't put all that information and expect volunteers to retain it in 15 or 18 hours. We need to get stuff online that they can access before they come into the course and that they can access afterwards if they forget it. It's about making better volunteers, better coaches, better referees to create a better experience. And the last thing is, what you're going to see is all of these courses are going to be mobile friendly. AYSOtraining.org is not mobile friendly. I think a lot of it's still in Flash, which if you're an Apple, if you have an Apple product, it doesn't work. All of the programs that we're going to put online would look beautiful on your phone. I actually was showing people yesterday around the pool how the U6 course looks. But the idea is get it in the hands of the volunteers and make it accessible. That'll be rolled out. You'll see the coaching courses this May. So everything I went through really is touched upon different programs, different things that you can see today. All the coaching programs, if you look in your agenda, look under referee, look under coaching, go into the exhibit hall and find the AYSO booth. But everything we went through today, there's more explanation and more information in courses that are being taught throughout the day. So take a look at your agenda and find those courses to get more information. The one thing I want to touch on before I introduce my boss is the reason we're investing money in the learning management systems and why we're creating coaching manuals and refereeing manuals that have training plans and making it really easy for volunteers to deliver the AYSO product is something is unique about AYSO. We're a single 501c3. We have almost 800 clubs, leagues across the country. We're a single soccer club. We're the world's largest soccer club. We have 500,000 players. We have a single brand. Nobody out there is like AYSO. But the only way that we can be a single brand is if, I don't know if this works, but if the programs that's delivered in California are just as good as the programs delivered in New York. If the programs in your region are as good as the programs in the region next door. If we don't deliver a consistent product across the country, we're not a single soccer club. We're a bunch of little soccer clubs that have the same little logo on their chest. That's not what we want to be. We want to be the world's largest and the world's best soccer club. And the only way we can do that is from at the national level, we develop products and systems and tools and services to make your lives easier. But you have to use those services, those tools, and those resources to deliver that program. Because we want to create the expectations with the parent that what they're getting in their community is the best soccer program that's being offered. We plan on doing our part and busting our butts to create the best programming we can and get it in your hands and your volunteers' hands as easily as possible. But what we ask of you is use the programs. We're bringing a lot of experts in to make sure that there are programs that are right for your kids, but we need you to deliver it. Thank you for your time.